Today I'm in the kitchen making mini tart shells. These little bite-sized pastries are easy to make at home. Use them right away or freeze them for later. This rich, flaky pastry is perfect for any sweet or savory filling. I'm Rebecca and welcome to the kitchen. This is how I make mini tart shells. I'm going to start by making the dough. This is my favorite pie dough recipe, but you could substitute this for your own favorite pie dough or even use store-bought dough. I like to make my pie dough in a food processor because it's really fast. To my food processor, I'm going to add 2/3 of a cup of flour, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. Pulse it a few times to mix these ingredients together. I've cut 1 cup of cold butter into little cubes, and with the food processor on low, I'm going to add these through the funnel. Turn it off as soon as the butter is in. In a small pourable container, I'm using a small glass measuring cup. Mix a half a tablespoon of vinegar, 6 tablespoons of cold water, and 1 egg. With the processor on low again, add the liquid through the funnel. The dough should clump together in a few seconds. Turn the processor off as soon as this happens so you don't overwork the dough. If the mixture is still too dry, add more cold water a little at a time until the dough holds together. I'm going to let the dough rest 10 minutes and then roll out on a floured countertop. I'm making sure to move the dough around and apply more flour to ensure nothing is sticking to the counter or the rolling pin. To make my mini tarts, I'm going to use a muffin tray. Choose something a little bigger than the muffin cups to use as a cutter. You can use a large cookie cutter, a biscuit cutter, or an upside down cup. This canning jar ring is the perfect size for mine. Cut the circles in the dough as close together as possible. Collect the scraps back together, re-roll, and cut again until all the dough is used up. Press the dough cutouts into each cup of the muffin tray. I'm going to make sure to shape each to the bottom and up the sides of each cup. Once my tray is full, I'm going to chill the tart dough for 15 minutes. Now that the dough is firm, I'm going to use a fork to press some holes into the base of each tart shell. This is called docking the dough and will allow steam to escape and hopefully prevent any bubbles forming in the bottom of the pastry while it's cooking, because I want as much room as possible for my filling later. Another way to ensure the pastry stays where I want it to is to place some weights in each shell. To do this, I'm going to place a muffin liner in each shell, and I'm going to put a handful of dried beans in each to help hold the dough in its shape. You could also do this with dried rice or pie weights. Now I can bake them in a preheated 325° Fahrenheit or 160° Celsius oven for 15 minutes. Now the pastry is partially cooked, and I'm going to remove the liners and weights. Then I can return it to the oven to bake for another 10 to 12 minutes, or until the bottom is cooked through and lightly colored. Now my crisp and flaky pie tarts are blind baked and ready to use. Enjoy!